Hello everybody. In this video, I want to talk about more about directing the end result of the render image in Midjourney, and more precisely here coming from a photographer perspective. Now, if you look here, we're just going to focus on image of a horse. So if I want to get, for example, an ultra wide angle shot, I can write horse ultra wide angle, or I can write something like an ultra wide angle shot of a horse. All right. Sometimes depends on what you want to achieve or the excessive words that might mean even something else. Sometimes it's better to write it short because it gives you more room to control the results rather than very long sentences. But sometimes you need to describe it because the word might be described as something else. I'm going to show an example so you can see what I mean. This is an example. Horse, fisheye lens. Now, if I write fisheye lens, you can see what happens here. I have a horse with a fisheye lens. That's not what I want, all right? This means that I might get better result if I describe it horse image taken with a fisheye lens, or something that more resembles a very accurate description of what I want to achieve, and rather than writing like that, because fisheye lens is basically an object, and you have a horse and a fisheye lens, and well, as you can see, that's the result, not what I want. So again, it depends on the word that is being used. This is something that I want, by the way, Midjourney to have, something that is will be a hint for Midjourney to describe some photography related composition terms. So, or for example, if I write like a lens, focal length, it will know exactly what I need. But again, this should be something with parameter in order to do this rather than just a word. All right, but still you can get results, related results when using it. Horse close up. Right, you can see close up. I'm just using, by the way, 1:1 aspect ratio. Keep in mind for some of them, you, of course, if you're creating an image, for example, if you want panoramic view, you want to change maybe 16:10 or wide aspect ratio to get better results. Of course, it depends what you want to achieve. Horse product view, as you can see, if I write product view, I get a product one. If I do horse panorama, again, here, for example, in panorama, it's better to use a wider aspect ratio, but you can see that I'm getting kind of panoramic view. GoPro video, I can write something like that and I get the effect of a GoPro video of an image of a horse. I can write night vision. By the way, of course, I can combine everything using weight. So you can write a night vision, wide angle, and give weight. So, you know, if it's by default, it's going to be the same weight distributed, but I can just combine different things, of course. And of course, it doesn't mean that you need to just describe it with photography terms, but in this particular video, I'm just talking about photography terms. And of course, there are plenty more. Drone photography, Polaroid. So you can see the image now, it's appeared like kind of old. Tintype, very old. Or Fujifilm Superia. This is, by the way, a specific film that create different colors of the image, and there are plenty of specific Fujifilm, not just Fujifilm, just Kodak and other film companies that produce different unique coloring, and you can actually have it applied to your image, but basically mentioning it. Or Smacro. This, of course, you're going to see lots of figurines, because again, macro shot that they put into the data set or of figurine, the macro shots, many of them, so that's why you see it. But of course, I can get different things if I just refresh it. Or 20 millimeters here, I try to tell it, you know, on specific focal length. Here I'm telling 18 millimeter focal length. And of course, this can just lead up to something else. Or scan on 5D Mark II, 10 millimeter. You can get, like, I got a image, one of them which are very good, very ultra wide angle focal length. And of course, fisheye, just fisheye, as you can see here. horse photo taken with a fisheye. This is a more descriptive one, but you can still see that I'm getting a fisheye here. But this one is actually a fisheye lens. This is with a fisheye. So when it's more descriptive, I'm getting something that, not something that I always like. Because again, it reads it literally. Horse in a field. Now this is a descriptive, more descriptive thing. Horse in a field, panorama, Fujifilm Superia. I wanted to call those golden hours. All right. This is another one. Ultra wide angle shot of a horse in a field, Fujifilm Superia, golden hour, realistic, very detailed, aspect ratio 16:10. You see I changed the aspect ratio to be wide angle. And the golden hour. All right, I want to show you a few more things. Basically, again, you can use those photography terms to kind of compose things, and photographers will definitely understand that, to use those terms, and you can achieve results that are pretty good. But again, Midjourney is just another word, and Midjourney really don't see it as it's not hard-coded to understand those keywords or some photography terms. Some of them will lead to good results, some of them not. So for example, I'm writing here horse, and I try to use no to reduce those to remove, for example, shallow depth of field. And if I want to describe something, instead of writing, for example, let's say that I want to get something with very hard-coded camera terms. So for example, I want to use a camera that has a 50 millimeter focal length, in 35 millimeter equivalent, and with f/0.7 aperture, very wide aperture, to have this shallow depth of field. I can write it, it might get it, but it's not again hard coded. There might be services that will be specifically for photographers, or an AI feature that allows you, even after you created the image, to control the subject and different type of things like focal length and aperture after you do it. In the future, it's not available right now, and it's more complicated probably to achieve, but of course, technically it is possible. So for example, here I'm writing horse, shallow depth of field. I'm going to get an image with shallow depth of field effect. All right. But the thing is that this can actually affect the results. So I might get horses that are not real because the images in the dataset are actually maybe figurines or something like that. So it actually can skew the results based on the keywords to a direction that I don't like. All right. And basically it can affect the results. But if it's something hard-coded, you won't need to. But probably in the future we'll be able to control even the camera inside a 3D created AI images. Already the world inside it is 3D, and you can move the camera inside. It's much more complicated, of course, in the future. So here I'm writing horse sharp background. As you can see here, it just leads to something that is more painting. No, it's not what I want to achieve. Here I'm using no depth of field, shallow depth of field to remove it. All right, I do get something like that, but again, it's weird results. All right, so yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say, that when you think about it this way, you can see that there's a way to take it to the next level and create some really crazy stuff. And of course, just think about in the future when you can generate a 3D scene like that, and you can just even control the camera in AI created scene. It would be crazy, right? It would be nuts. But of course, in the future. But it just leads you to think about how it would be like when you're just moving from images, and not just for a specific 3D scene, but for complete movies that you can just generate. You can direct full movies with sound, with lighting effects, all but just describing things, right? But well, again, as I said, in the future, but again, it's just going to be crazy when it comes. So this is it for this video. Again, I hope you like this topic. If you do, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. And I see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.